275. Green Bay on the money line, minus 350. The over-under on this game is 45 and a hook. FPI says the Packers have the chance of winning at 83.1%. Now, look, for them to be able to do this, Aaron Rodgers has got to raise up his QBR. His QBR right now is 44.6 through the first 5 games of the season. This is the lowest total in his entire career through the first 5 games. Zach Wilson, 67% completion percentage against the Miami Dolphins last week. Doesn't mean he's going to duplicate this against the Green Bay Packers. I think Green Bay wins the game. These young receivers come to the party against that young secondary in New York.
Harry, how concerned are you with the Packers offense?
I'm concerned, especially when you have a guy named A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, the strength of your offense right now. And I understand A-Rod is A-Rod, but A.J. Dillon cannot get, 6 carries in the game against the Giants that he had last week. I'm pretty sure Aaron Jones needs more than 13 carries. Understand where your bread and butter is and get these 2 guys to football.
I actually think it was the perfect game plan against my Giants. Now they can change it all they want now. What else we got?
Second down. Ravens at Giants.
Ravens-Giants, the spread is Baltimore minus 6. The money line, Baltimore minus 275. The New York Giants plus 215. The over-under on this game is 45. And FPI says the Ravens, 65.7% chance of winning. Here's Baltimore, 2-0 on the road this season, having started 3-0 on the road since 2020 when they started 4-0. That is a plus. They go up against the Giants and Saquon Barkley. We know what Saquon Barkley can do on the ground. Can Daniel Jones, with that ankle, get a little bit better after beating up on the Green Bay Packers in London? Come to the party at the quarterback position. I'm not worried about Saquon Barkley as much as I am. Can Daniel Jones continue to show that he belongs in New York and not pushed out?
So, how does Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martindale factor into this game, Harry?
Well, he was the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens from 2018 to 2021, so he understands everything about that offense. He understands everything about Lamar Jackson. The flip side of that, they understand everything about him as well. The thing I'm worried about the Giants is that they just played a game over in London, and typically you have, a bye week after you come back from there. They don't, and the Baltimore Ravens didn't go over to London, so I am concerned about those things.
Let me tell you what I'm concerned about in this game, all right? What I want to start to see. When the Giants traded out of, I think it was the 9th slot, right, or the 10th slot when the Bears took Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. What was the 10th slot? When that happened, what they essentially did is they sent Micah Parsons to Dallas. They could have grabbed Parsons. They decided they wanted an extra first-round draft pick. I get why, because they'd done a terrible job at building the team. They needed more people. So that draft pick really, because they were going to draft a lineman, no matter what, Evan Neal or someone else, they had to draft an offensive tackle. So that draft pick turns into Kayvon Thibodeau, really. Kayvon Thibodeau's going to have to start balling out because I see what Micah Parsons is doing, right? He could have been a Giant. We still would have had the offensive lineman. No, we have him instead of Parsons. Now, that's a very high standard to live up to. He doesn't have to be Micah Parsons, but he's going to have to start really getting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks for the Giants to be more than just a little bit ahead of schedule by the end of the year, it seems to me.
Yeah, and look, he's a young player, and I think over time he'll continue to get better. But if they still play as a unit, as a team on the defensive side of the ball, something that they've been able to do under Wink, I think they'll be okay. I like the Giants' chances of making the playoffs this year. I think that they have something cooking, and whenever you have something cooking, it's something that just continues to keep going. I don't see them falling off the cliff anytime soon.
But, Key, really quick, tell people about how when you go overseas and play a game, how that has an effect on people.
Yeah, right. They got to come back and play now.
Oh, yeah. When you get back, it's like anything, whether you're playing a game or you're just traveling with your family, the jet lag and the time difference and the change or have you sleeping in the middle of the day. Now, they've been back since then, so they probably are back accustomed to the time zone here in the U.S., so I don't know if that'll really play a strong portion of the game, but certainly I bet you it affected their practices throughout the week.
Yeah, I wonder also, like, how you try and have to scheme up and keep up with Lamar Jackson. That's not easy under any circumstance. But if your practice schedule is off and everything, that can't help. You think Wink is the difference in the game, Harry? You think, or are you just saying it gives the Giants a puncher's chance?
It gives them a puncher's chance because he's been within that Ravens organization and knows the offense left and right.
All right, let's get to the two biggest games of the weekend.
Third down, Bills at Chiefs.
Well, this is a nice little afternoon slate on Sunday, 4:25 p.m. Eastern time. You got the Bills and the Chiefs. The spread, Buffalo, -2.5. The money line, Buffalo is -140 and Kansas City +118. The over-under on this particular game is 54, with FPI saying that the Chiefs had a 59.9% chance of winning. The Bills, fourth consecutive season starting at 4-1, longest streak winning at least 4 of the first 5 games since 1990 and through 93. Went to the Super Bowl each of those seasons. But here's what I would say. Josh Allen in Buffalo, 1-3 in his career versus the Chiefs, including the playoffs. His second most losing against any team other than the New England Patriots, of course. His only win versus Kansas City was last season in Week 5. Now flip to the Chiefs side of things. The Chiefs at home. You talk about home field advantage. Get this, guys. The Chiefs have won 8 straight regular season games at home. I just mentioned it. The last time they lost was against the Bills in Week 5. Now you want to talk about the way that they play and the style in which they play. Travis Kelce is the leader on this team with 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games, 4 versus the Raiders, as we saw last week, which is already rates as his most in any 4-game span of his career. He scored a touchdown in 4 straight against the Bills, 6 total in those games against the Bills.
Harry, which quarterback has the edge here, do you think?
I'm going to go with Josh Allen because he has the better team and the better skill position players around him.
He's facing the lesser defense, too.
Yeah, the funny thing about this is that the 4 times these teams have played the last 2 years, Stephon Diggs, as much as man covers that Steve Spagnuolo likes to play, has not had over 77 yards in that game. And that's ironic. It's just crazy when I looked it up. The flip side of it, when you look at Patrick Mahomes, I know the Buffalo Bills are going to say, you know what? We're going to make him methodically work this football down the football field to try to score. Be patient. And if I'm Steve Spagnuolo, I'm switching some things up defensively too. I'm making Josh Allen take checkdowns. I'm not giving him that home run play and allowing him to beat me with big plays like that.
Yeah, I got to say something. Patrick Mahomes is the underdog at home for the first time in his career. He's in the middle of his 5th season starting, has never been a home dog. And, you know, like the way Mike Trout came into baseball, he was the best player ever at his age, basically, or certainly one of the 2 or 3. And then every year after that, if you looked at his age, where he ranked in history, he had one of the best seasons ever for a player that age. And if once you get to a certain age, you say, well, that's the best player ever, right? Patrick Mahomes has the kind of success that early in his career that only Tom Brady's had, right? But Tom Brady wasn't doing what Mahomes was doing early, right? Okay. The only guy who was kind of doing what Mahomes was doing early was, say, maybe someone like Dan Marino, where you're like, damn, he starts out like that. But Marino didn't have Mahomes' level of success.
Yep.
So far in his career, at this point in his career, he's the greatest player of all time. I'm not saying he's already the GOAT. I'm saying at this stage in his career, he has been better and greater than anyone else who's gotten to this stage of their career so far. And it's underscored by the fact that he's a home dog for the first time. And we don't even know if he's going to actually be a dog just right now for the first. That's 41 home games without ever being the underdog.
Well, I would say this, Max. You look at that Kansas City Chiefs team, and I played against that team my last few years when I was in Tennessee, and that's when Alex Smith was the quarterback. Alex Smith leaves that team, and then Patrick Mahomes takes over. They go to the AFC Championship game, and if it wasn't for somebody jumping off sides, they go to a Super Bowl. The following year, what do? Is that the year I think Patrick Mahomes threw 50 touchdowns?
He called his own, the 50 touchdowns was first year
then
MVP.
He won the Super Bowl the next year.
The next year was when he calls his own, a 13-step drop and throws it all the way down the field to Tyreek Hill to win the Super Bowl, right? I mean, it's bananas what he's doing. So, like, when Key points out, like, Josh Allen has to check a lot of boxes before he's actually comparable to Mahomes. Win an MVP, win a Super Bowl MVP, beat Mahomes.
Yep.
Well, he beat him in the regular season once so far.
When
he could do it again this weekend.
Regular season. I mean, playoffs, that's when it counts. That's the dark cloud that's hanging over Josh Allen right now because AFC Championship game 2 years ago, Patrick Mahomes got the best of them.
Yep.
Division round last year, Patrick Mahomes got the last laugh. Even though Josh Allen put up a stellar performance, That's the dark cloud right now.
Do you remember the cameras when they went to Josh Allen and they were all feeling good on the Buffalo sideline with 13 seconds left and all